Okay.
Good morning, Ma'am Arya Farah and friends. We are from Group 4, and we are going to discuss our financial reporting analysis for insurance company, which is PT Asuransi Harta Aman Pratama Tbk, or AHAP, and PT Asuransi Bintang Tbk, or ASBI. So first, we would like to introduce our team members. So my name is Jeremy.
My name is Diaska.
My name is Kevin.
My name is Bahi.
My name is Tafani.
Name is Emirza.
So the first thing we are going to discuss is the company overview, which is the company's background or profile and the industry context. The first is Asuransi Harta. So PT Asuransi Harta Aman Pratama Tbk, or AHAP, is a publicly listed non-life insurance company based in Jakarta, Indonesia. Established in May 1982, it commenced commercial operations in 1983 and went public in 1990. The company primarily provides conventional insurance services covering a wide range of sectors, including fire and property insurance, motor vehicle insurance, health insurance, cargo insurance, accident insurance, and construction and heavy equipment insurance. AHAP operates through a network of branch offices in Bandung, Surabaya, and Medan, with additional marketing offices located in Jakarta, Semarang, and Solo. The company is part of the Salim Group with PT Asuransi Central Asia, or ACA, as its controlling shareholder. As of 2023, AHAP reported a solvency ratio or risk-based capital of 198%, exceeding the regulatory minimum of 120% set by the Financial Services Authority, or OJK. AHAP operates within the broader financial services sector, specifically focusing on the insurance industry. The Indonesian insurance market has been growing steadily, driven by increasing awareness of risk management and the importance of insurance coverage among businesses and individuals. The industry includes various types of insurance products, with non-life insurance encompassing property, health, and liability coverage. In recent years, the market has seen a rise in competition as new players enter the field and existing companies expand their product offerings. This competitive landscape necessitates that companies like AHAP continuously innovate and improve their service quality to maintain market share. Next. The second is Asuransi Bintang. So PT Asuransi Bintang Tbk, or ASBI, established on March 17, 1955 in Jakarta, is founded by notable figures from the Indonesian independence movement. The company has maintained a significant presence in the insurance industry for over 6 decades. It operates under the ticker symbol IDX of ASBI and has been publicly listed on the Indonesia Stock Exchange since 1989. ASBI offers a wide range of insurance products, including both conventional and Sharia-compliant options. Its services cover, first, general insurance that includes property insurance, personal accident insurance, vehicle insurance, and liability insurance. The second is Sharia insurance. The company also provides Sharia-compliant products such as Bintang Medical Sharia and Salam Safar. The company operates through 10 branch offices and 14 marketing offices across Indonesia, supported by a professional marketing team to cater to diverse geographic needs. It emphasizes enhancing service quality and infrastructure to maintain competitiveness in the market. In recent years, ASBI has demonstrated resilience despite competitive pressures. The company reported revenues of approximately 153 billion rupiah in 2018, and at the same year, with a net profit of 13.9 billion rupiah. The firm has also focused on expanding its product offerings to include affordable premiums aimed at retail and micro markets since entering the Sharia insurance sector in 2007. The Indonesian insurance industry is characterized by its rapid growth and increasing competition. Companies like ASBI face challenges from both domestic players and international firms entering the market. The industry is regulated by OJK, which oversees compliance and operational standards to protect consumer interests.
Okay, after we explain about the company overview, now we look at accounting policy for both company. The first one is AHAP. First, basis of preparation and measurement. First one is going concern and accrual basis. The financial statement have been prepared based on the assumptions of going concern and the accrual basis, except for the statement of cash flow, which use the cash basis. Second one is historical cost, which measurement is primarily based on the historical cost, except for specific account, which are measured using other method as disclosed in the respective accounting policy. Third one is cash flow statement. The statement of cash flow is prepared using the direct method, classifying cash flow into operating, investing, and financing activities. The last one is currency. The reporting and functional currency used in Indonesian rupiah. Now we mentioned about change in accounting policy. There are few changes in accounting policy regarding AHAP. First one is effective from January 1st, 2023. Amendment to PSAK 1, which is presentation of financial statement regarding disclosure of accounting policy and classification of liabilities. Second one is amendment to PSAK 25, accounting policies change in accounting estimates and errors. The third one is amendment to PSAK 46, income tax concerning deferred tax on single transaction. Last one is revised on PSAK 107, which is accounting for ijara. The second one is effective from January 1st, 2025, which is PSAK 74 regarding insurance contract. The next one is amendment to PSAK 74, initial application of PSAK 74 and PSAK 71, which is comparative information. Next. Okay, now we discuss about accounting policy of ASBI. First one, we mentioned about basis of preparation and measurement, which is they use first historical basis. The financial statement are prepared on a historical cost basis, except for the certain account measured using other basis as disclosed in their respective account policies. The second one is accrual basis. The consolidated financial statement, except for cash flow, are prepared on the accrual basis. The third one is cash flow statement. The cash flow statement use direct method, categorizing cash flow into operating, investing, and financing activities. Last one is currency. The reporting and functional currency is Indonesian rupiah. Now we discuss about change in accounting policy. First one is adopted and effective from January 1st, 2023, which is amendment to PSAK first. Presentation of financial statement regarding disclosure of accounting policy and classification of liabilities. Second one is amendment to PSAK 25, accounting policies change in estimates and error. The third one is amendment to PSAK 46, income tax regarding deferred tax on single transaction. Second one is adopted effective from January 1st, 2025, which is PSAK 74, which is regarding insurance contract.
Okay, here I'm about to talk about earning quality of asuransi harta or AHAP, harta aman pertama TBK. Okay, if we see here's we give to you but the common size of net income, the content of gross premium, net claim expense, underwriting result, operating profit, profit before tax, net profit or loss, and comprehensive profit or loss. Now we can see that AHAP exhibit a volatile net income. If we see year by year, 2021 AHAP show positive, 2022 is negative, and 2023 is negative on operating profit and positive on comprehensive profit or loss. In 2022 and 2023, AHAP recorded negative operating profit due to expenses exceeding total operating revenue. However, in 2023, despite they have the negative operating profit, AHAP achieve positive profit before tax. We can see that the profit before tax in 2023 is 1,400. Regarding the operating profit is minus 1,100 and 11,500. Nah, this is primarily driven by significant operating income that comprises for operating costs. Additionally, AHAP net profit or loss was 3 times higher than its PBT in 2023. This was due substantial tax benefit recorded during the year, which is 2023, which is significantly boosted the company overall profitability. Okay, next up we talk about earning quality of ASBI. ASBI shows a declining trend in gross premium and net profit, even though there is a small increase in 2023. If you can see, in 2021, common size percentage revenue is 9%, 9.557%. In 2022 is 3.4%, and in 2023 is 5.34%. Additionally, SB has a smaller gross premium compared to AHAP. If you can see, the gross premium of AHAP is around 600,000, and ASBI is around big 300,000 and 400,000. However, when compared to AHAP, ASBI demonstrates better common size ratios. ASBI has a higher percentage of net premium to gross premium. If you can see, the net premium of ASBI is around 40+%, and in AHAP is 40% and lower. This indicate that the reinsurance from gross premium is lower in ASBI. And underwriting ratio to gross premium is higher also. If you can see, is 25%, around 25%, and in AHAP is around 16 to 21%. Next, ASBI show a lower net claim expense to gross premium ratio. If you can see, the net claim expense is 18%, around 18% to 13%, and in AHAP is around 25% to 16%. Although SB operating profit fluctuated slightly, it has not experienced negative figure over the past 3 years. In 2021, SB also recorded tax income, further supporting its financial performance. If you can see, the profit before tax is 12,000, and net profit is 16,000 on 2021. What stand out the most is SB's comprehensive profit or loss, which is significantly larger, up to 3 times its net profit. You can see, for example, is in 2023, the comprehensive profit or loss is 20,000, but the net profit or loss is only 5,800. Upon investigation, the dominant factor contributing to this disparity is the other comprehensive income, particularly in on gain or loss from revaluation of fixed asset after tax. This revaluation significantly boosts SB's comparative profit, making it a notable aspect of its financial performance. After that, we look up the non-current item for both of companies. In AHAP, we can see the non-recurring item is there are 2 that I find. First is other underwriting income, significantly increased from 2022 to 2023, and the other one is tax benefit in 2023. And for ASBI, the non-recurring item is what I mentioned earlier is other comprehensive income for gain or losses on revaluation of property and equipment after tax. Next up about balance sheet quality of both company. If overall, AHAP and ASBI have a similar balance sheet, we can see the total asset is quietly similar with comparable total asset over past year. Both companies have no goodwill, so it shows that neither company relies on intangible asset to inflate their balance sheet, indicating a more transparent representation of their financial position. The nominal value of total investment asset for insurance company is also similar. Although there's a contrasting trends, we can see that AHAP investment asset have increased over last 3 years, and while ASBIs have decreased one. However, ASBI maintain a slightly higher percentage of investment to total assets compared to AHAP. In terms of liability and equity, both companies rely more heavily on liabilities for funding. However, AHAP has a significantly higher liability ratio compared to ASBI, as we can see in the common size ratio, common size analysis, which liabilities accounting for 77 to 82%, and for AHAP is total asset versus 60 to 63% for ASBI. This indicates that AHAP is more leveraged than ASBI, reflecting a higher reliance on debt in its capital structure. Next up about cash flow quality for both company AHAP and ASBI. If you look at the cash flow statement of both company, we can see that their operating cash flow or estimates OCF is significantly differs from their net profit. If you can see the example for AHAP is in 2023 net profit, net income is 409,000, but operating cash flow is differs 21,000. This is common in insurance company due to the difference in accrual accounting and cash accounting for revenue and expense. For example, is if insurance company like receive a premium that he receives a cash from first large amount, and the company recognize the revenue for divided by the period. So next step, AHAP saw a positive relationship between net profit and OCF, indicating that the cash flow trends align more closely with its reported profitability. This suggests that AHAP's premium collection, claim payment, and other operating cash activities are more in sync with its income recognition. On the other hand, ASBI shows a negative relationship between its net profit and OCF. This difference may come from high cash outflow for claim settlement, substantial prepayment for assurance, or reliance on non-cash or accurate investment income to boost net profit. As a result, while ASBI's net profit appears positive, its operating cash flow or OCF reveals a more strained cash position.
Okay, then we're gonna do DuPont analysis for PT Asuransi Harta Aman and for PT Asuransi Bintang. Firstly, for AHAP, the company's return on equity or ROE has shown a significant decline. It dropped from 14.63% in 2021 to 4.79% in 2022, and further down to 2.34% in 2023. This decrease is probably driven by consistently negative operating profit margin, minus 7.96% in 2021 and minus 2.91% in 2022, reflecting ongoing challenges in operational efficiency. Although there was a significant improvement in the tax burden, reaching 341.13% in 2023, its impact on ROE was minimal. Additionally, the interest burden decreased from 103.70% in 2021 to 66.89% in 2023, indicating lower interest expenses relative to EBIT. Financial leverage also declined from 4.8 in 2021 to 4.53 in 2023, signifying reduced reliance on debt. In conclusion, despite some improvement, the company continues to face major challenges in enhancing profitability and operational efficiency, resulting in a steady decline in ROE over the past 3 years. Secondly, we're gonna do for PT Asuransi Bintang Tbk or ASBI. The DuPont analysis in this company reveals a gradual improvement in the company's return on equity or ROE, which increased from 0.72% in 2021 to 1.42% in 2022, and further to 1.54% in 2023. This improvement is primarily driven by enhancement in the operating profit margin, which rose from 2.70% in 2022 to 3.68% in 2023, reflecting better operational efficiency. Both the tax burden and interest burden components remain stable over the years, indicating consistent management of taxes and interest expenses. However, the asset turnover and financial leverage ratio showed slight declines in 2023, with asset turnover dropping from 0.23 to 0.19 and financial leverage decreasing from 2.68 to 2.59. These changes suggest reduced efficiency in utilizing asset and slight decrease in reliance on leverage to generate returns. In conclusion, while improvement in operating profit margin have contributed positively to ROE, the overall figures remain relatively low and highlighting ongoing challenges in maximizing profitability and equity returns for PT Asuransi Bintang Tbk. Next slide. And for the conclusion of both company, the analysis highlight contrast financial performance between PT Asuransi Harta Aman Pratama Tbk and PT Asuransi Bintang Tbk. PT Asuransi Harta Aman Pratama Tbk experienced a sharp decline in ROE, dropping from 14.63% in 2021 to 0.34% in 2023, primarily due to negative operating margins and rising financial burdens, reflecting operational inefficiencies. In contrast, PT Asuransi Bintang Tbk showed steady improvement with its ROE increasing from 0.72% in 2021 to 1.54% in 2023, supported by stable tax and interest burdens and improved efficiency. Despite slight declines in asset turnover and financial leverage, overall, PT Asuransi Bintang Tbk demonstrate a more stable trajectory while PT Asuransi Harta Aman Pratama Tbk needs to address its inefficiencies to regain sustainable growth. Next slide.
Okay, now we discuss about profitability ratio of both company. When comparing profitability ratio of PT Harta and PT Bintang over the period from 2021 to 2023, several patterns and trends emerged that highlight the difference in financial performance and resilience between the two companies. First, we talk about ROE. ROE measures how effectively a company uses shareholder equity to generate profit. In 2021, PT Harta had much higher ROE, which is 12.6% compared to PT Bintang, which is 4.6%, indicating a better profitability relative to equity. However, Harta ROE turned negative in 2022, which is minus 3.6, and only slightly recovered in 2023, which is 2.3%. This decline suggests that significant challenge in profitability or equity management during this year. Meanwhile, Bintang ROE, lower than Harta in 2021, show more stability, maintaining positivity values through all 3 years, with a slight increase in 2023, which is 1.5%. This demonstrates less volatility, but also lower profitability overall. The second ratio is return on asset. Return on asset reflects how efficiently a company uses its asset to generate earnings. Harta ROA decreased significantly from 2.3% in 2021 to minus 0.8% in 2022, before rebounding to 0.5% in 2023. The negative ROA in 2022 indicates that PT Harta failed to generate positive return from its asset that year. In comparison, PT Bintang had consistently lower but stable ROA, moving from 1.7% in 2021 to 0.5% in 2022 and slightly improving to 0.6% in 2023. While Bintang performance was less affected by external shock, its lower overall ROA indicates less effective use of asset compared to Harta during its stronger year. The third ratio is return on revenue. Return on revenue show how much profit is generated for every unit of revenue. Harta started with higher ROA in 2022 compared to PT Bintang, but its profitability deteriorated sharply in 2022 before recovering in 2022. This volatility highlights that PT Harta sensitivity to operational or market challenge. Meanwhile, PT Bintang, while having a lower ROR initially, demonstrate more stability. Although its ROA dropped in 2022, it's rebounded more strongly in 2023, surpassing Harta recovery and reflecting better revenue management. The fourth one, we discuss about gross profit margin. Gross profit margin measures the efficiency of production or service delivery. Harta GPM declined from 2021 to 2022, recovering slightly in 2023. This indicates a decrease in cost efficiency, possible due to rising operational costs or declining revenue. Meanwhile, PT Bintang consistently outperformed PT Harta in GPM, maintaining higher margin throughout the period years. The consistent performance reflects superior cost control and service delivery efficiency compared to Harta. The last margin is net profit margin, which indicates the percentage of revenue that remain as net profit after all expense. PT Harta NPM started 7.8% in 2021, reflecting a strong profitability, but fell into negative territory in 2022, before rebounding to 1.8% in 2023. This fluctuation mirror trends in Harta other profitability metrics, underscoring operational challenge. Meanwhile, PT Bintang display a consistently lower but more stable NPM. Despite its lower peak, PT Bintang gradual recovery indicates a more cautious and sustainable approach to expense management. Overall, conclusion, Harta show more potential for higher profitability in favorable conditions, but is more vulnerable to financial instability during challenge period. Bintang, on the other hand, demonstrate a steadier performance, prioritizing stability and operational efficiency over aggressive growth. This characteristic make Harta a higher risk and higher reward company, where PT Bintang appears to be safer, more predictable option for stakeholder. Next, we will compare between PT Harta and Bintang Insurance Company based on expense ratio. Analyzing the loss and loss adjustment expense ratio, underwriting expense ratio, and combined ratio provides key insight into cost efficiency and operational performance of PT Harta and PT Bintang over the 3 years. This ratio reveals a significant difference in expense management and profitability between the two companies. First one is loss and loss adjustment expense ratio. Loss and loss adjustment expense ratio reflect proportion of premium used to pay claims and their associated costs. Harta loss and loss adjustment expense ratio has been consistently higher than Bintang over the years, indicating that Harta has faced higher claims-related expense related to its earned premium. This suggests that PT Harta may be less efficient in managing its claim and loss adjustment process compared to PT Bintang. Second one, we discuss about the underwriting expense ratio, which is ratio measures the cost of acquiring and underwriting insurance business as a percentage premium. Both companies show a similar trend, with underwriting expense ratio increase over the years. However, Harta underwriting expense ratio is notably higher than PT Bintang's, reflecting higher costs related to acquiring and managing policies. This suggests that Harta may be not efficient in its underwriting operation as PT Bintang. The last one is combined ratio. The combined ratio measures the sum of loss and underwriting expense as a percentage premium. A ratio below 100 indicates underwriting profit, while ratio above 100 indicated loss. PT Harta combined ratio has been significantly higher than Bintang, indicating that PT Harta has been less efficient in its own overall underwriting operation. A combined ratio above 100 for Harta suggests underwriting loss, whereas PT Bintang maintains a lower ratio, implying that it has been operating more efficiently and generating profits from its underwriting activities. Next. The next one is solvency ratio. An analysis of solvency ratio reveals critical difference in the financial structure and risk profile of PT Bintang and PT Harta Insurance Company. This ratio highlights their capacity to meet long-term obligation and the extent to which they rely on debt versus equity to finance their operation. First one is debt to equity ratio. This ratio indicates the proportion of debt used relative to shareholder equity. Bintang show a relatively stable ratio, indicating that the company is not heavily reliant on debt compared to its equity. On the other hand, PT Harta has much higher ratio, suggesting that the company is more depending on the debt to finance its operation relative to its equity. Second one is debt to asset. Bintang maintain a high and stable ratio, meaning that a significant portion of company asset is funded by debt. PT Harta ratio is also high, although slightly fluctuating, reflecting a strong reliance on debt to finance its asset. Third one is financial leverage ratio, which means ratio to measure the degree to which company use debts to finance its asset. Bintang ratio has significantly decreased, showing that the company is reducing its reliance on debt to magnify return on equity. Harta, while also decreasing, still maintain a higher leverage ratio, meaning it continues to depend heavily on debt to enhance return on equity. The last one is debt to capital ratio. This ratio evaluates the proportion of debt in company overall capital structure. PT Bintang ratio is stable with a slight decrease, indicating that debt still constitutes a large part of the company capital structure. Harta shows a small decrease as well, but the ratio remains high, meaning a larger portion of its capital is financed by debt.
Okay, so the next ratio is liquidity ratio, which measures the company's ability to fulfill its short-term obligations using current assets. The first is current ratio. For Harta, the ratio declined over 3 years from 1.39 to 1.35 and to 1.30. While Bintang, it's much higher, though declining in 2023. It increased in 2022 and decreased in 2023. So we can conclude that Bintang has significantly higher current ratios, indicating stronger ability to cover current liabilities with current assets. The second ratio is quick ratio. For Harta, the ratio decreased slightly from 2021 to 2022 and stable at 0.55 from 2022 to 2023, indicating limited highly liquid assets. While in Bintang, the ratio increased from 2.39 in 2021 to 2.65 in 2022, and then it declined from 2.65 in 2022 to 2.03 in 2023, but remains much higher compared to Harta. So Bintang has a better quick ratio, reflecting a higher level of liquid assets like cash, short-term marketable investment, and accounts receivable relative to current liabilities. The third is cash ratio. For Harta, it decreased from 0.3 in 2021 to 0.22 in 2022 and improved slightly from 0.22 to 0.28 in 2023. So For Bintang, the ratio declined slightly from 1.25 in 2021 to 1.16 in 2022, and also declined quite significantly from 1.16 to 0.56 in 2023, but still higher than Harta. So Bintang has better cash liquidity despite its decline. So for liquidity ratio, Bintang consistently outperforms Harta across all ratios. It shows a significantly stronger ability to meet short-term obligations, whether measured by current assets, liquid assets, or cash reserves. Harta, though stable, maintains lower liquidity ratios, indicating comparatively weaker short-term financial health. Next. Next is activity ratio that measures the company's efficiency in using its assets to generate income or other operational activities. We use 5 ratios. There are actually 4 more ratios in activity ratios, such as inventory turnover, days of inventory on hand, payables turnover, and days of payable outstanding. But they are not applicable for insurance companies since they don't have inventory. So the first is total asset turnover. In Harta, it consistently declined from 2021 to 2023. And for Bintang, it also consistently declined from 2021 to 2023. But we can conclude that Harta has a consistently higher ratio, indicating better utilization of total assets compared to Bintang. The second is fixed asset turnover. For Harta, it declined significantly from 2021 to 2023, while in Bintang, the ratio declined slightly over 3 years, ranging from 1.28 in 2021 to 0.82 in 2023, but overall still lower than Harta. So Harta has a much higher ratio, indicating better efficiency in using fixed asset to generate revenues compared to Bintang. And the third is working capital turnover. Harta working capital turnover is fluctuative, which had decreased in 2022 but increased in 2023. While in Bintang, the turnover is consistently low and decreasing over the 3 years from 1.04 in 2021 to 0.94 in 2022 and declining slightly to 0.91 in 2023. So we can conclude that Harta has a significantly better ratio, demonstrating more efficient use of working capital. Next. The fourth is receivables turnover. Harta's receivable turnover is fluctuative, which decreased in 2022 and increased slightly in 2023, while Bintang also fluctuated, which increased slightly in 2022 and then decreased in 2023. So Harta outperforms Bintang in receivables turnover, showing better efficiency in collecting receivables. And the fifth activity ratio is days of sales outstanding. Harta's DSO increased quite significantly in 2022, but decreased slightly in 2023, indicating faster collection, which is a good news. While Bintang DSO decreased slightly in 2022, but increased quite significantly in 2023, indicating slower collections, which is a relatively bad news. So Harta has a lower DSO across all years, indicating quicker collection times compared to Bintang. So Harta consistently outperforms Bintang in total asset turnover, fixed asset turnover, working capital turnover, and receivable turnover that showcase better operational efficiency. Harta also maintains a lower days of sales outstanding, indicating quicker cash conversion. So Harta has better overall activity ratios and operational efficiency compared to Bintang.
So next, we discuss about the assets-based compensation where the asset-based composition analysis is a financial explanation that delves into the structure of company assets, assessing the composition of company balance sheets over time. In this slide, we have PT Asuransi Harta and PT Asuransi Bintang, and we can comparability analysis at account, cash and cash equivalent, and fixed assets. In the cash and equivalents in 2023, PT Asuransi Harta cash and cash equivalent decreased slightly to 12.8 billion from 13 in 2022, with its sales of total assets dropping from 1.39% to 1.28%. In contrast, PT Asuransi Bintang saw a significant decline from 27 of the 2.75% of total assets in 2022 to 16 billion, which is 1.67% in 2023, and will significant drop it to 40%. This indicates weakening liquidity for both companies, with PT Asuransi Bintang experiencing a severe decline, with possibly due to higher operational spending for shifting investment strategies. And the next, in the account of the fixed asset, we can compare that PT Asuransi Harta allocated minimal resource to fixed assets, comprising only 0.75% of total asset in 2022 and slightly decreasing to 0.70% in 2023, focusing instead on liquid and investment assets. In contrast, PT Asuransi Bintang significant increased its fixed asset from 70% in 2022 to 20% in 2023, indicating a focus on infrastructure and long-term growth. This difference reflects contrasting asset management strategies between the two companies. Next. Okay. This is we can study of company cash flow, that we can analysis of cash flow that involves examining in the inflow and outflows of cash within business over a specific period. And we can to analysis, first is cash return on total assets, and second is cash flow to total debt ratio. On cash return on total assets, based on the analysis, is PT Asuransi Bintang recorded negative performance in both 2022 and 2023, with ratios of 5% and 4%, minus 4%, respectively. Although there was a slight improvement in 2023, this result still reflects the company's inability to generate sufficient cash flow from its total assets. In contrast, PT Asuransi Harta Aman Pratama saw a positive ratio of 2.26% in 2022, indicating better efficiency in generating cash flow from its asset. However, this performance deteriorated significantly in 2023, with the ratio dropping to 7.89%, reflecting a substantial decline in operational efficiency and cash generation capability. And the second is cash flow to total debt ratio. PT Asuransi Bintang post 10% minus in 2022 and 6 minus percent in 2023. While there was a slight improvement, the negative values indicate the company to struggle manage cash flow to meet debt obligation. Similarly, PT Asuransi Harta Aman Pratama recorded a positive ratio of 2% in 2022, but this declined to 10 minus in this 10 minus percent in 2023, signaling significant challenges in covering debt obligation with operating cash flow. Overall, both companies face difficulties in cost flow efficiency and in meeting to their debt commitments. Next.
Okay, now is evaluation. The chart of the
first chart is from PT Harta. The chart reveals that the price fluctuates between being undervalued, fair value, and overvalued relative to its fair value. Periods of undervaluation often present attractive buying opportunities, while overvaluation calls for caution of profit taking. Historically, from 2014 to 2019, the price saw a downward trend with significant undervaluation observed in 2018 to 2019. This was followed by a strong rebound from 2020 to 2022, driven by market recovery and renewed optimism. However, the slight downturn in 2024, minus 1.51% total return year to date, suggests a period of consolidation or market cooling. Over a long term, the price saw a tendency to revert toward its fair value, highlighting the importance of valuation-driven investment strategies. Increased volatility since 2021 reflects the market sensitivity to external factors such as inflation, interest rates, and macroeconomic developments. Cyclical trends are evident with periods under valuation like 2018-2019 often followed by substantial recoveries in 2020 to 2022, underscoring the importance of timing in investment decision. The second chart is from Asuransi Bintang. The valuation The chart shows significant fluctuation in price relative to their fair value, with notable periods of overvaluation and undervaluation. After a sharp decline in 2015 with minus 51.58%, the market gradually recovered through 2019, followed by a mute period from 2020 to 2021. A dramatic rally occurred in 2022 with plus 85.61% and continue in 2023, driven by strong market momentum. However, 2024 show a slight downturn with minus 2.36% year to date, indicating a potential consolidation or correction. Price movement exhibit a cyclical pattern with periods of undervaluation offering strong buying opportunities. Next. Okay, this is a comparison between the two companies' valuation. The valuation comparison show that Harta has more stable price movement, with moderate fluctuation around fair value and consistent growth over time, making it ideal for long-term conservative investor. In contrast, Asuransi Bintang experienced higher volatility with sharp decline and explosive recovery, affecting a more cyclical and risk-prone profile. While Harta aligns closely with fair value, Asuransi Bintang often deviates significantly, offering higher upside during recoveries, but requiring careful timing to avoid step loss. In 2024, both companies showed slight negative year-to-date returns, with Harta maintaining stability near fair value and Bintang vulnerable to correction after its recent rally. Next. Okay, now is analysis of sustainability. First is PT Asuransi Aman Harta Aman Pratama or AHAP demonstrate resilience in 2023 despite global economic challenge and hardening reinsurance market. The company achieved a net profit of 4.98 billion, meeting 41% of its target, with significant contribution from motor vehicle, property, and personal accident insurance segment. AHAP focused on enhancing profitability, operational efficiency, and leveraging technology to improve process and strengthen customer relationship, while challenges such as intense competition and reinsurance recovery persist. The company emphasizes sustainable practice through good corporate governance, compliance with regulation, and strategic initiative to maintain financial health and business continuity. While the PT Asuransi Bintang achieved a net profit of 5.83 billion in 2023, supported by strong investment income and robust governance practice. It operates 27 branches and with 322 staff, contributing to local economic but show limited focus on environmental sustainability. negative cash flow for improved liquidity management. Next. This is some commitment made by PT Asuransi Harta Aman Pratama as a form of concern for sustainability include. First is operational efficiency and profitability. PT Harta Aman Pratama has focused on improving operational efficiency, particularly in its motor vehicle, property, and personal accident insurance segment. The company also emphasizes a commitment to adapting its global economic change, such as the insurance market hardening, which can be considered an indirect commitment to sustainability by improving resilience to market fluctuation. And two is risk management and financial stability. The company aims for sustainability growth by adhering to effective risk management strategies. This help in building long-term financial stability, which indirectly supports broader social, economic, and economic sustainability. Next, now is commitment by Asuransi Bintang. First is employee and community impact. PT Asuransi Bintang operate 27 branch and Sharia business unit across Indonesia, contributing to the local economic and providing greater access to insurance service, where specific sustainability programs are not detailed. This geographic expansion and employee base indicate the company contribution to community development and economic stability. To corporate governance and Sharia compliance, the company show a strong commitment to ethical governance by maintaining a diverse and independent board structure. Additionally, it ensures compliance with Sharia principles in its operation, particularly in the Sharia business unit enforcing responsible and ethical business practice. Less focus on financial transparency. PT Asuransi Bintang prioritize transparency and good governance, maintaining detailed financial disclosure and reports. This commitment aligns with responsible business practice that are crucial for long-term sustainability. Next, and last is comparison between the two companies' sustainability analysis. Both Harta and Bintang demonstrate solid governance structure with a strong focus on financial transparency, risk management, and profitability. However, both companies show limited or no specific commitment to environmental sustainability in their reports. PT Asuransi Bintang outperformed PT Asuransi Harta slightly in social factors, showing greater employee impact and regional presence, while both companies demonstrate strong governance. Neither company has a notable focus on environmental sustainability, indicating a gap in their ESG strategies. Economically, Bintang has higher total asset and profit, but Harta show better cash flow management. Bintang leads in overall ESG performance due to a more significant emphasis on social contribution. In terms of social sustainability, Bintang has a slight edge with a broader community impact, including job creation and regional expansion, while Harta focus primarily on financial performance and operational efficiency. Bintang also leads in social sustainability and maintains a well-rounded approach to ESG, while Harta is more focused on its core business objective and financial resilience. Okay, that's all from us. Thank you for listening.